I've been married to my wife for 6 years, together for nearly a decade. We've had our ups and downs, sure, but overall, I thought things were good. I've always been the steady one, working hard, paying bills, making sure we had stability. I might not be the most exciting or adventurous guy in the world, but I've always been loyal, dependable, and I thought she appreciated that. I'm not flashy. I don't drive a luxury car. I don't spend money on stupid things, and I'm not the kind of guy who needs to be the center of attention. I thought what we had was real, a partnership built on respect, trust, and love. At least that's what I believed until a few nights ago. It all started with what was supposed to be harmless banter. We were sitting in the living room, arguing lightly about something stupid. I don't even remember what it was, probably chores or who was supposed to take the trash out. I cracked a joke about how she's spoiled because I always end up doing more. It wasn't harsh, just playful. Then she hit me with it. She smirked and said, "Well, at least my ex had a bigger one." For a second, I thought I misheard her. My brain literally stalled, trying to process what she just said. She wasn't laughing. She wasn't smiling like it was some silly joke. She said it with this cutting tone, like she meant for it to land exactly the way it did. My stomach dropped. It felt like the air got sucked out of the room. I just sat there, stunned, my mouth half open but no words coming out. I don't think I've ever felt so humiliated in my life. That one sentence cut deeper than any fight we'd ever had. It wasn't just an insult. It was disrespect on a level I can't even describe. And the worst part? She just shrugged it off, like she hadn't just detonated a bomb in our marriage. She grabbed her phone, started scrolling like nothing happened, and said, "Don't be so sensitive. It was just a joke." A joke? I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something, but I didn't. I forced myself to stay calm. I even smiled. Yeah, I actually smiled and said, "Right, just a joke." She didn't notice the way my voice cracked a little. She didn't notice how my hands were clenched into fists on my lap. But inside, I was boiling. That one sentence planted a seed of doubt in my mind. Why was she even thinking about her ex like that? Why compare me to him at all, unless she'd been in contact with him? People don't just pull something like that out of thin air. And suddenly, all the little red flags I'd brushed off before started piling up in my head. The late nights out with her friends. The way she guarded her phone like it was a top-secret government device. The sudden work events that she never mentioned before. Even small things, like her pulling away when I'd try to cuddle, or the way she seemed distracted during dinner. I'd told myself it was just stress, or work, or maybe she was going through something. But now, with her insult echoing in my head, all I could think was, she's hiding something. So I paid attention. The next few days, I watched her more closely. Every time her phone buzzed, she'd grab it before I could even glance at the screen. She started turning it face down on the table. At night, when she thought I was asleep, I'd catch the faint glow of the screen as she typed away under the covers. My gut told me what was going on, but I needed proof. One night, when she went to shower, she left her phone charging in the bedroom. I knew her password. She thought she was clever changing it, but I'd noticed over her shoulder once. My hands were shaking as I unlocked it. And there it was. Messages. Dozens of them, between her and her ex. They weren't just innocent, "Hey, how are you" conversations either. They were filthy, flirty, downright disgusting. She was sending him pictures, things I thought were just for me. And he was mocking me in the texts. Stuff like, "Bet he has no idea what a real man feels like." And the worst part? She was laughing at it, entertaining it, feeding into it. Scrolling through those messages, my rage shifted into something else. Icy calm. That's the only way I can describe it. I wasn't even surprised anymore. It was like my body decided being angry wasn't worth it. Instead, I just shut down. She'd humiliated me once with her words, and now I had undeniable proof that she'd been betraying me behind my back. And the irony? The very insult she thought was a funny little jab ended up exposing the whole truth. I put the phone back exactly how she left it and pretended nothing happened. When she came back from the shower, she smiled at me, kissed me on the cheek, and acted like everything was normal. But I knew, and I decided right then and there, that I wasn't going to blow up or scream or cry in front of her. No, that would give her power. Instead, I was going to play it smart. I was going to bide my time. Because if she thought her little joke was funny, she had no idea what kind of punchline I was about to deliver. I'm not confronting her yet. I want to do this right. I'm gathering my options, thinking everything through. She joked about her ex being bigger, but she has no idea what's coming. I'll update soon.
I made my original post, a lot of people told me not to act impulsively. I listened. Instead of blowing up in the moment, I did what I've always done best. I planned. I spent the next week gathering everything I needed, quietly, without tipping her off. The first thing I did was secure evidence. I screenshotted every disgusting message between her and her ex. I printed them out in neat, chronological order, highlighting the worst parts. The mocking comments about me, the pictures she sent, the plans they made to meet up like old times. I made copies of everything and stored them in a safe place, both digital and physical. I wasn't going to let her wriggle out with excuses like, "You're overreacting," or "You misunderstood." Next, I called a lawyer, quietly, discreetly. I explained the situation, handed over the evidence, and asked what my options were. Luckily, I live in a state where infidelity can influence divorce proceedings. That meant her little joke wasn't just disrespectful, it was expensive. My lawyer helped me figure out how to freeze joint accounts, secure my paycheck in a private account, and prepare the paperwork to start the divorce process. I didn't tell her a thing. To her, everything seemed normal. We still ate dinner together, still made small talk, still shared the same bed. But every night when she fell asleep, I stared at the ceiling, thinking about how she had looked me in the eye and laughed while betraying me behind my back. I also reached out to a trusted friend, someone who had always been there for me. I needed support, someone who could keep my head straight. He was furious on my behalf and told me straight up, "She doesn't deserve your silence. When you hit her with this, you hit her hard." So, I planned the confrontation. I waited until Friday evening. I knew she wasn't going out that night. She'd already made plans for a movie at home. I suggested we order dinner and sit down together. She thought it was cute that I was making an effort, completely oblivious to the storm about to hit. We sat at the dining table, plates between us, the smell of takeout filling the air. She was smiling, scrolling on her phone, making small talk. I waited until she set her fork down, then looked her straight in the eye. "So," I said calmly, "is that why you said your ex was bigger? Because you've been texting him?" Her face froze. For the first time in years, she looked genuinely speechless. Her eyes went wide, her mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. She finally stammered, "What are you talking about?" I didn't say a word. I just reached into the folder I'd prepared, pulled out the stack of screenshots and slid them across the table. She stared at the first page, color draining from her face. I watched her eyes dart across the text messages, her own words staring back at her. The flirtation, the mockery, the betrayal in black and white. By the third page, her hands were trembling. This isn't what it looks like," she whispered. That's when the floodgates opened. First came denial. She tried to laugh it off, saying I must have misinterpreted the tone. She insisted it was just playful banter, nothing serious. When that didn't work, she shifted to anger. She accused me of snoping through her phone, of violating her privacy. She called me controlling, insecure, pathetic. I didn't raise my voice once. I didn't even flinch. I just leaned back in my chair and let her dig her own hole. Finally, when the anger didn't work, the tears started. Big, dramatic sobs. She fell to her knees beside me, clutching at my arm, begging. It meant nothing. It was just jokes. I never intended to actually do anything. Please, you have to believe me. But I wasn't moved. I looked down at her, completely numb, and said, "You already did enough. We're done." Her tears froze. She blinked at me like she didn't understand the words. "What do you mean, done?" That's when I pulled out the second folder, the divorce papers my lawyer had prepared earlier in the week. I set them on the table as calmly as if I were setting down a grocery list. She gasped, her face crumbling. No, you can't be serious. Please don't do this. We can fix this." I shook my head. "You joked about your ex being bigger. You laughed behind my back while betraying me. You humiliated me. This marriage is over." The begging turned frantic. She swore she'd cut him off, swore she'd do anything to earn my forgiveness. But I was past the point of caring. I told her she had until the end of the weekend to pack her things and move out. Later that night, after she stormed out crying, I did something petty but satisfying. I went on social media and posted a single sentence. When your wife jokes about her ex being bigger, but you find out she's been proving it to him behind your back. Attached was a blurred screenshot of the texts, just enough to make it clear what happened without revealing every detail. The reaction was immediate. Friends started messaging me. Some expressed shock, others offered support. Word spread quickly, and it wasn't long before mutual friends and even her family knew the truth. And here's the kicker. Her ex, the guy she'd been humiliating me for, he ghosted her completely. The last few messages I saw before I stopped caring were him making fun of her for getting caught and then going silent. He never intended to leave his own life for her. She was just a game to him. Now she's the one humiliated. Friends who used to admire her are disgusted. Her own family reached out to me, apologizing for her behavior. She's been blowing up my phone with calls and texts, crying, swearing it was a mistake, begging me to reconsider. But I'm not answering. She wanted to humiliate me with a cruel joke, and now she's the one exposed, mocked, and abandoned. And here's the thing, I'm still not done. She thinks the worst of it is over, but it's not. There's more to come. I'll update soon.
Final update. It's been a few weeks since my last update, and a lot has happened. To everyone who encouraged me to stand my ground, thank you. You probably saved me years of wasted time. After the confrontation, things went downhill for her fast. Once the screenshots made the rounds, her reputation took a nosedive. Friends who once thought she was funny and charming suddenly saw her for what she was: cruel, selfish, and disloyal. Even her own family didn't defend her. Her sister called me to apologize on her behalf. Her parents were mortified, and her cousins, who used to love hanging out with us, completely cut her off. She spiraled. I heard from mutuals that she tried reaching out to her ex again, but he had completely ghosted her, just blocked her number and moved on. That alone crushed her, because she had risked and destroyed everything for a man who never cared. The guy she once smugly compared me to tossed her aside like garbage. When she realized he wasn't coming back, that's when the guilt tripping started. She sent me long texts saying things like, "You'll never find someone who loves you like I did. I made a mistake, but you'll regret leaving me." I didn't respond, not once. She tried every tactic: anger, tears, promises, even threats that she'd never survive without me. But here's the thing, I'd already survived the worst. The moment she said that disgusting line about her ex being bigger, our marriage had died. Everything after that was just confirmation. And while she was spiraling, I started healing. I threw myself into the gym. At first, it was just a way to release the anger. But soon enough, I started seeing changes, not just physically, but mentally. Every pound lifted, every mile run, felt like reclaiming a piece of myself she'd tried to tear down. I picked up old hobbies I'd abandoned during the marriage. I started painting again, something I hadn't done since college. I took weekend trips, drove to new places, met people I never would have met if I were still trapped in her toxic orbit. For the first time in years, I wasn't walking on eggshells or worrying about what mood she'd be in when she walked through the door. The freedom was intoxicating. And yes, I've started dating again. Nothing serious at first, just getting to know people, enjoying the company of someone who actually respects me. Then, unexpectedly, I met someone different. Someone who doesn't tear me down with jokes. Someone who doesn't make me feel small just to prop herself up. She laughs at my lame humor, asks about my day, and actually listens. It feels genuine, and for once, I'm not doubting it. Meanwhile, my ex-wife's life has become the punchline of her own cruel joke. The very words she used to humiliate me are now the story people whisper behind her back. I've heard through the grapevine that even at her job people know about it. Her coworkers look at her differently now, like she's a cautionary tale instead of someone to admire. And remember those people who doubted me at first? A few of them reached out to apologize. They admitted they thought I was being too harsh until they saw the evidence for themselves. There's something deeply satisfying about having the truth out in the open, where lies and manipulation can't twist it anymore. But the real closure came during what I call the final confrontation. About a week ago, she showed up at my place, uninvited. I opened the door and there she was, makeup smeared, hair a mess, eyes swollen from crying. She begged me to talk to her. I almost shut the door in her face, but something in me wanted that final chapter closed properly. So I let her talk. She went on about how she'd been lonely, how she'd made a stupid mistake, how she missed me, how we could start over. She swore she had blocked her ex and was ready to be the wife I deserved. I listened silently the whole time, leaning against the doorframe with my arms crossed. When she finally stopped, waiting for me to say something, I took a deep breath and gave her the only answer she was ever going to get. "You compared me to your ex," I said flatly, "but I upgraded from you. Goodbye." Her face crumbled. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she reached for me, but I stepped back inside and closed the door. I didn't slam it, I didn't yell. I just closed it gently, firmly, and locked it. I stood there for a moment, listening to her sobs fade as she walked away. And instead of feeling pain, I felt peace. That was the last time I saw her. Now I'm moving forward. Betrayal hurts more than I can describe,
But here's what I've learned. Revenge is satisfying, but self-respect is what truly heals. I didn't just win against her. I won back myself. She thought it was funny to compare me to her ex. Now she can keep living in the past while I'm moving on to a better future.